Always love watching all the speedruns. Need to make that randomizer run all dungeons. I agree. And that puts us at 390 out of 2000. So thank you very much, Lemon Fairy. And without further ado, let's get started with Donkey Kong Country 2 run by I Got Bored.
Oh, okay. So should I just give a countdown? All right. I'm gonna start in 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah!
So this is Donkey Kong Country 2. There are two basic movement rules that you want to follow in this game. First is that rolling is faster than running, and the second is that you preserve your momentum through rolling by jumping out of your rolls instead of letting the rolls finish. So those kind of inform most of the movement in this game. We're not going to be seeing much of the first two worlds because we're going to be taking a combination of developer-intended warps and wrong warps to get out of every level really fast. So here's an example of a wrong warp. And
Nice warp.
Nice.
Thanks. And basically what I did there is I threw the beetle at the same time that the other beetle was going to hit me, and that gives me an invisible object that when I throw it at the right spot and when the sprite IDs that are loaded in the game are, kind of loaded in the correct way, it turns into a barrel that sends me out of the level. So here we're going to attempt a trick called Lockjaw, where I'm going to try and get into the warp barrel a little earlier than normal. Okay, I failed it. Bad
Pure
luck.
luck.
Yeah, it's pure luck. So you'll notice that I'm Dixie right now. Most of the time you want to be Diddy because Diddy is faster, but Dixie is used a lot in this game as well. There's a very good balance of what Kongs are more useful when. So that's another wrong warp. That wrong warp is actually very difficult because to get up to the top of the level with a snake like that requires a 3-frame input. So the first boss is Crow, and this is the most significant RNG element in this game. You'll see that these eggs here, the first two eggs are the same every time, but the third and fourth egg have a roughly 50% chance of being real or fake. So you'll see that the Crow gave me one fake egg and one real egg.
Come on, 6 fakes.
Please. Okay, so one fake is pretty good. You can get... We actually don't know if there's like a hard limit to the number of fakes you can get. The world record, I believe, is 19 fakes, and that would be a reset. Well, not here, but
No, here too.
Yeah. So we're going to attempt another warp here. Okay, failed it.
So I have an important question. Would 18
Sure.
fakes be okay?
18 fakes would be fine, yes.
Okay, great.
Unless you were trying to get fakes world record, and then that would be a reset.
Gotcha.
So what I was trying to do there is I was trying to kind of land at the right spot to hit the clobber while holding the chest, and that would give me an invisible object. We'll get another chance to see that later in the run. Okay. So there, what I was trying to do is I was trying to do a trick called the Big Boy, where if you hit an enemy while doing, if you team throw at an enemy, then that gives you significantly more height, which lets you get into that barrel earlier. But the timing is kind of tricky, so unfortunately I didn't quite get enough height. So this is one of the few required fanfares in the game. Generally, you don't want to take fanfares because they're slow, but here we kind of have no choice.
A $5 donation from Shape who says, I was told to donate. Shafts blank. Thank you for your donation. No, nobody has to donate, but we really do appreciate it anyway.
Yes, they do.
Okay, they do apparently.
So the warp barrel is kind of off screen, so you have to kind of throw it at the right spot or else you fall into the lava and die. I'd be lying if I said that I had never done that.
So how much time do all these warps save over the course of the run?
So these normal, these kind of normal developer intended warps, they save a lot of time. We usually finish World 2 in like less than 6 minutes, and to contrast, in Warpless, it takes about 11 minutes to finish the first 2 worlds. There are some other wrong warps later in the game too, so those will save more time. So Cleaver is a pretty fun fight. It introduces another small RNG element. The position of where these cannonballs spawn is random. It's not as bad as Crow though.
Oh, double frame perfect.
Yeah, so that's a trick called Lava Fly. It's actually not double frame perfect, but it does require a particular setup, because if you don't get the setup correctly, you just fall into the lava and die and lose about 40 seconds. Feels bad. Here's another important trick. I didn't get it. Okay, well. If you jump up at the right time with the cannonball on the last hit, then you can make Diddy levitate in the air. It's pretty sweet.
I think this run is over now, though, since you didn't get it.
Oh yeah, this run is invalid, but I'll play it out as atonement, I guess.
All right.
All right, so now that we're out of World 2, we're actually going to start actually playing the game. There are still some wrong warps that you're going to see throughout the run, but for the most part, we have to kind of complete every level now. So this Rhino movement looks kind of tricky, but it's mostly just jumping in the right spots. So there I dismounted from the Rhino, because if you kind of run past that sign with the Rhino, then you get stuck in the animation where he turns into a DK coin. It looks slow throwing into the barrel like that, but I'm actually doing that to set up a super jump, which saves a significant amount of time right here. So this trick is called Swamp Fly, and normally you would have to take a really slow barrel across that last swamp, but because we get extra height from the super jump, you can use that and Dixie's hover to just hover over the entire section of swamp. So next we have Glimmers. The stage is not that hard to just not die in, but it's one of the most difficult stages in the game to optimize, because the way that you want to optimize a stage is you want to cut every corner as closely as possible, but you don't want to hit any corners, because doing so will, cause you to lose all your momentum, and doing that adds up really quickly throughout the course of the stage. So top players kind of have a strategy for every corner that they employ to cut the corners as closely as they can, and hopefully I will also have a strategy to do that. And you have to do this while, avoiding that fish and other obstacles in this level. So the stage takes a lot of time to master.
Who's your favorite fish enemy?
I like these pufferfish. I think it's kind of funny that they blow themselves up. I don't know what that says about me, but
This run is definitely not going to blow up.
Thanks, BJW.
It's impossible to blow up when BGW is on your catch.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem confident in you, BGW, so.
Well, he should be.
Alright, so in this level we have another warp coming up. It's kind of a strange wrong warp. It was discovered pretty recently, and we still don't understand it very well. But it's interesting to say the least. So we're coming up to the warp right here. Okay, so what happened there is I made sure that the Cutlass was in his animation where he was pulling the sword out of the ground, and fired myself out of a cannon at roughly the same time. And for some reason that I don't think even the donkey scientists understand, the game just sends you out of the level then. It's a very bizarre warp. It doesn't work anything like any of the other warps in this game.
Pretty sure you can also go to jail for that one, too.
Probably. Okay, so this level is our introduction to the snake, and the basic movement pattern that you want to follow with the snake is that he's faster when he's jumping than when he's running, or just, popping. So you want to jump as much as you can. The difficult thing about this level is that the snake's hitbox is frankly terrible, so very small variations in your movement like that can cause you to get hit where normally you would never get hit. So this is like one of those examples where small variations in your movement can give you incredibly different results, just based on things you can't control very easily. So nobody really likes that level.
There's a Kong barrel there?
Yeah, there's a Kong barrel at the end, so if you get hit once, it's not that bad.
We're learning things today.
Yes.
Here. So swapping in the water there sets up another super jump, which lets me skip a bunch of the level and also lets me skip the animation of the water rising, which is really important for this wrong warp coming up. Okay, good. So if the water, rose up like intended, then I wouldn't be able to enter that barrel because it would be underwater.
My childhood.
Beat me to it.
It's always erased the meme in this level.
Yeah. So this first half is pretty straightforward. The only kind of tricky thing is that you'll notice that some of the shots that I'm taking are like immediately after I get into the barrel, and that's a 3-frame input to get what we call a quick shot. Actually, you took a damage boost earlier in the level to bypass 2 of the quick shots because they're hard to do consistently. Okay.
There's a clip he can do a little bit earlier there, but
Yeah, so there are actually a couple of examples of places near the end of the level where the vine isn't very substantial, so you can just clip through the vine if you're precise enough. So the backup that I actually did after failing the initial strat is another example of that, where the vine kind of just doesn't exist if you throw it in the right spot.
Hold on, you actually know something about this game?
I know, right?
It's amazing.
Oh, I thought you were talking to me. I was like,
No, I would hope you know something about this game. You're running it.
I guess. So this boss is pretty boring, honestly. The only real optimization you can do is you can kind of stand right next to where the boss is going to land and throw your barrel earlier, but that only saves 2 seconds over the course of 6 hits, and if you miss one of them, you lose about 15 seconds. So I'm just going to take it safe here. If you have any donations to read, this would be a great time for like the next minute or so.
Well, I wish I could, but we don't have any donations through now. However, I just want to let everybody know we're at $13,952 raised. So can we please get to $14,000 before the end of this run? I don't think that's much to ask, so it'd make me really happy. So please get your donations in, and thank you very much for watching. And even if you can't donate, we appreciate you spreading the word, just talking about us on social media. You can use the hashtag Calathon2018 to talk about us on the Twitters. You can also just, tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your grandma, I don't know, like whoever watches speedruns, just tell them, hey, tune in.
Dude, I wish my grandma watched speedruns.
Same.
I'm happy mine doesn't.
Alright, so World 4 is coming up. This first level is a kind of a good example of a level where Dixie is pretty useful. You can use Dixie to hover over all of his honey, which you have a tendency to get stuck in. Oh, sorry, Dustpan. It's actually a little faster to play this level as Diddy, but doing that is extremely difficult. So I'm just going to go with the more reliable strat of playing as Dixie, and you can kind of hover past all of his honey. Honey is one of the most difficult movement tricks, or kind of aspects of movement to optimize, because you want to both be fast and have like a pretty consistent rhythm, and that's extremely difficult to do if you're trying to go as fast as possible. So this is another level where, so I'm just gonna be stuck up here for a little while, I think. You do fall down eventually, but there you go. That is something that you can. That is something that can happen when you do that trick, which I probably should have talked about. What I did back there was a trick called Scrolly Scroll, and basically what you do is you land on the spider, and you're on the hook at the same time, and the game can't process that, so the camera just unlocks, and that's why the camera was going so fast back there. But you do risk, you know, kind of being stuck up there for a couple of seconds if your throw is off, which mine was. So World 4 is kind of weird in that there are some of the hardest levels in the game are in World 4, but in between those extremely difficult levels are two auto-scrollers, so this is a world of extremes. There's not really much to say about this level, honestly. You can do some minor optimizations by just jumping off of these parts as early as possible, and doing a couple of very minor skips that save maybe 0.1 or 0.2 seconds, but for the most part, you're just hitting these barrels and trying not to die, trying not to fall asleep, which is really the difficult part.
We do have a $10 donation from Loiner Steve. Says DKC2, let's go. Good luck. Also, are you speedrunning in a cafe? No, but we are actually speedrunning in our at the HQ of Bebo, our good friends at Bebo. So it's like this really cool, like, I guess like hip, like residential type area. It's neat. It's not a cafe though.
This is like the coolest office ever. They have a beer keg in the other room.
They're lying. This is actually a Starbucks.
Okay.
That bee always tripped me up when I played this game casually. I would always try to jump, and then I would just get bodied. Okay, so we're at about the end of this level, so I'm going to start talking about the next level, which contains one of the most difficult wrong warps in the game. What I'm going to be trying to do is I'm going to be trying to take a beetle and clash it against a wall. And that part is difficult, and the setup to get the correct sprite IDs is also difficult. Okay, so I failed it already, so I have to die and try again. I need both Kongs for the actual setup.
At least the death music is pretty good.
Yeah. It makes you feel a little less bad about what you've done and what you're doing with your life.
You sure about that?
No. Shoutouts to Kibbles. Okay, so... Alright, good. So what I had to do there is I had to climb that rope just fast enough so that the hook was kind of still spawned when I got to the top of the rope. And in addition to that, I had to jump at that... Later on, I had to jump into that bramble at just kind of the right way so that I could clash against the texture of the wall at the right time. I actually kind of used what we call Kibble's Corner to set up my jump so that it's consistent the entire time.
Got a $1 donation from Waggy Two Shoes who says, let's get a DK dollar donation train going. I'm cool with that.
Hell yeah.
Hey, Darkman,
What's up?
can I donate from the couch?
You can do whatever you want, Lilat.
I'm just gonna pull up my phone here and drop a few bucks.
Go for it. Thank you.
Thanks, dude. Really helps me out.
Oh, yeah.
Just in case.
And you know, Lilat, when you're donating, did you know that there are challenges that you could actually put your money towards when you are donating on the Tiltify page?
Really? Tell me more.
I just told you that.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, so after another pretty boring auto-scroller, we are coming on to the most difficult stage, one of the most difficult stages in the game, Mudhole Marsh. The stage kind of has everything that makes DKC2 speedrunning great and hard. It's got cool platforming, good rolls, and it's got a wrong warp at the end, so this level is kind of the whole package. very little margin for error for a lot of the things you do in this level. So here we're going to set up a wrong orb. Here we have another honey stage. This is another stage that, for similar reasons to Hornet Hole, is difficult to optimize. Okay. So there I kind of got stuck in my movement, so I had to wait for the clamp on. That team throw, that big boy was actually really important because doing that lets you skip a significant portion of this level. To be honest, I don't even really know how to do this level the intended way. It's really hard.
All right, I have a very important donation. We have a $37 donation from somebody I don't know who it is. It says 14K! It's actually from Lilat. Thank you, Lilat.
I also didn't put it towards any of the challenges.
Really?
Yeah.
I just told you.
Thanks, Lilat.
Why? Why are you clapping?
Well, thank you, though, for helping us hit 14K, Lilat.
No problem.
And we also had a $50 donation from Campy, who says hi.
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 Hi, Campy.
Hi. Okay, so coming up is Kingzing. This boss is not that difficult, but you don't want to sleep on the king. So you have to be careful not to get hit and not to kind of mess up your movement, because the hitbox for the Stinger is kind of difficult to hit if you're not prepared to hit it in a particular spot. So this entire fight is very choreographed. So he's ready for 2-cycle.
Me.
Oh, sorry.
You slept on the king, dude.
Yeah, I'm sleeping on the king literally right now. I should follow my own advice.
That doesn't seem like a very comfy bed.
It's really not. Okay, that was okay, I guess. I didn't get hit. That's really the important thing. This fight is honestly terrifying if you only have one Kong. Okay, so World 5 is in some sense it's easy and difficult in the sense that there are no wrong warps or really kind of weird tricks in this world, so it's just platforming, but it's also difficult platforming. This level, or this world, contains some of the hardest levels in the game. This level is pretty straightforward. You're just rolling and jumping and dying.
I mean, that is straightforward.
Yeah, there's...
I was able to follow along.
Can you show me again? I wasn't really paying attention.
Nah. I'm gonna try not to, but just watch the VOD.
I'm sure there's a clip already.
Probably. Okay. So after that level is yet another auto-scroller, although this one is at least kind of interesting in the sense that the movement optimizations you can make in this auto-scroller are different from the ones you can make in the previous two. Here, you want to jump up every slope, and you want to jump down the large slopes. And that doesn't work in the other two auto-scrollers. That doesn't actually make you go faster. So it's interesting in that the three auto-scrollers in this game, they kind of just work in completely different ways. And, you know, that doesn't make a ton of sense given that they all look the same. If you watch the tasks, then you'll see them doing jumps in completely random places, and that actually is the optimal strat, and you kind of just have to memorize where to jump and how high you want to jump in about 50 different places to do that, so it's pretty difficult, so I'm just going to do the simple strat I mentioned.
Alright, we have a few donations now. We got $5 from Boss Crab, says Void OK. $10.69 donation from Supreme Kai, who says BJW is #1 waifu.
Yeah, I agree.
$5 donation from Ian M, thank you. And we have a $10 donation from Bobson Dugnut. It says, had to donate for one of my favorite games from childhood. Congrats to the runners and the staff. Great marathon. Let's keep the DK donation train rolling. And $10 donation from Flying Moo Cow says, thanks for doing this, everyone. Been enjoying all the runs. $20 from Alleycat, another one of our attendees. It says, how fast can we get to 15K? How about in the next 5 minutes? Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone, for your donations.
Okay, so this next level is has a wind as a gimmick, and the wind is based completely on your horizontal position in the level, so you can just kind of manipulate the wind basically how you want, and that lets you go really fast and roll really deep in some parts of the level, which is what we want to see.
Rolling deep.
Rolling in. So I love the music. This is probably my favorite track. Oh no, I didn't do the trick. Okay.
Are you saying this is a better track than Sticker Brush Symphony?
I would say so, yeah.
I might have to get up and leave right now.
Okay.
All right,
And
see ya.
nothing of value was lost.
Oof. I got 2 headsets now.
I can't get away. The
Oh
cable's
my God.
tripping me. I can't get away.
Oh well.
You're trapped.
I'm stuck here for another day.
The entire setup here just like collapses as you walk away. Just dragging
That
all
was
the
a
wires up
load-bearing
there.
setup, man. Alright, so this level, you want to take these parrots down, but we're not going to do that.
Okay, well, I want to take these parrots down. You want to
Oh.
go fast.
Yeah. Okay. So that hit was pretty bad, but you can still get there reasonably safely.
Nice.
Basically, you can use a combination of Dixie's hover and kind of resetting the hover by jumping into walls to completely avoid taking any of those parrots. Of course, that takes a lot of practice because the bees are everywhere and you need pretty precise movement to avoid hitting the bees.
Yeah, holy crap.
Yeah, that level is probably the most impressive level for somebody who isn't super familiar with the game or only played it casually, because I'm sure that, you know, when you're playing the game you remember having to take all these parrots down and it was really nerve-wracking and it took forever. But now that we're done with that difficult level, we have another very difficult level in Webwoods. This is probably the most nerve-wracking level in the game because you're always one bad input away from death. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Alright, we're back.
It's a small moment of confusion, but no problem. It's clear now.
So you use a combination of these instant webs and damage boosting to kind of get through this level as quickly as possible. Here I'm just kind of taking it safe. Okay, so one thing that we do with the spider that you might not have known that you can do with the spider is what's called instant platforms, and basically you just create a platform in the same you create a platform and you know kind of set it in place using the same input, and that's what lets you get through the level as fast as you can. But it's kind of a tight input and it's also really scary, so that level takes a lot of time to get used to. So the second crow fight, like the first crow fight, has some RNG in the where these barrels spawn. You can lose up to 4 seconds in this fight just based on where the barrels spawn, like I just did. So that left spawn is the spawn that you want the least because you have to kind of go all the way there to get it. Uh-oh. Well, this is scary. Alright. We're good. That rope section is kind of difficult because you have to go really fast with the ropes, and if you screw up like I just did, then you have to kind of just hope that you don't get hit.
You scared the crap out of me.
Sorry.
I have a $5 donation from Halfkey. Says dropping another $5 to prove it is possible to donate from the comfort of your own home. Technology. Agreed. Thank you.
You can donate from your home. You can donate from the couch.
That is true.
Yeah.
Where else can you donate from, BJW?
The couch.
Phone or wallet?
How about from the cafe?
You mean here?
Yes.
Where's my Frappuccino, dude?
I'll
I
let
think
you
they
know.
called it like an
Ordered
hour
this,
ago.
like, before the run started.
You probably just didn't pick it up. It's on you.
Yeah.
Alright, so I guess I should talk about the fish a little bit. So the main movement mechanic for the fish is charge canceling. You want to be charging as often as possible, but at the same time you need to, actually change your position a lot. So you can press left and right while charging rapidly, and that cancels your charge and lets you move again. So you use that in conjunction with the charging to move through the level. That level kind of sucks, to be honest, because like the snake, the fish hitbox is not great, so you can get hit randomly.
What just happened?
So there, what I did is I used the team throw and a big boy to kind of skip the first part of the level, and I did some off-screen movement to kind of get to the position that I wanted. So that trick is called Diddy Windy. It's a relatively recent development. It was introduced about sometime last year, and it makes this level a lot faster. So basically, the team throw lets you store a super jump, and that's why I was able to get up to the hook so fast.
So if you could do that part without looking, you can do this whole game blindfolded, right?
No.
Are we gonna see a blindfolded level?
Okay, does
Can
that...
you not distract the runner? Did
I'm
you just see
sorry.
what happened?
I'm sorry. I killed the run.
You did.
So the movement here is kind of tight because you need to stay far enough. You need to stay far away enough from the hooks to not die like I just did. But you need enough horizontal momentum to actually kind of jump off like that. So the movement there is kind of tight. That area is always kind of scary. So there we did a trick called Ghetto Bees, and it lets you get past those 3 bees using one less, I guess you can call it a win cycle than what the game intends you to do. The trick looks kind of difficult, but thankfully we have an MS Paint on the DKC wiki that tells you exactly what you need to do to get that trick. And it's actually one of the most perfect speedrunning tutorials that I've ever seen.
MS Paint is my favorite application in explaining speedrunning tricks.
It's actually just objectively perfect. You can't improve it in any way. So this is a 5-minute long auto-scroller. It's pretty boring, but we're going to shorten it by using this barrel. So I can't get hit or throw this barrel for the next minute and a half. So hopefully I can do that.
Holding on for dear life here.
I literally am. If there are any donations for the next minute, then we're good to go.
We don't have any donations right now. However, we have an interesting update. We added 2 new prizes that you could win if you make a donation. So if you make a $10 donation at any point in this marathon, single donation, you're entered to win a Sega coloring book. I know that sounds pretty hot. I kind of want that.
I'm a big
Are you
fan.
donating right now for that? Okay.
Okay, well, hold on. if that wasn't enough, how about $15 for the Slime Sun plush and hat combo? See that little cute thing in the center right next to the frost? That right there. All right, that's yours for potentially $15. Potentially yours for $15, I should say. There you go. So those, in addition to the prizes we already have, such as $5 donation getting you a Drake and Josh GBA cart. That's like the greatest prize of all time, I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, get your donations in, and we really appreciate all of your support so far.
So what I did at the end of that stage is I got another invisible object, and that lets me warp the goal from the very end of the stage, from 3.5 minutes away, to where I was right now. So, okay.
Do you know why that works in that stage and no other stage?
No.
Okay.
I'm just very thankful it does. Get on the fish. So that takes a little bit of time because you're supposed to dismount the fish. Coming up is a interesting trick we like to call Throw Your Girlfriend. So I threw Dixie back there to get the invincibility, and the invincibility lets me go through the rest of this level a lot faster than you're supposed to, because you can roll through all these bees, you can roll through the red guy.
And you know Dixie can magically teleport through ceilings.
Yeah, don't worry about that. Alright, so here we have last wrong warp in the game. It's a pretty difficult one. So what I did there is I landed on... I was holding the cannonball and I landed on the clobber in the right position, so that gives me an invisible object. Okay, so now we have another very difficult stage in Toxic Tower. I didn't really talk about snake movement back in Topsail or Rattle Battle, but basically there are... Oh. Okay, well, so basically there are two different types of kind of glitchy jumps you could do with the snake. The jumps I'm doing now are called short hop double jumps, and what you're trying to do here is you're trying to just tap B lightly to get into a glitched hop state, and that gives you extra height. It's kind of like a short hop and smash, if you're familiar with that. The other type of double jump that I was trying to do earlier there is called a true double jump. It's what I did back in the Topsail wrong warp, and it requires a 3-frame input of... It requires an input of A and B in a 3-frame window to get a jump that gives much more height.
It was so hard you had to change grip on your controller to do it.
Yeah, so a lot of people just just use a completely different grip for the snake because of the inputs that are required. It's kind of hard to do it with a claw grip. You can do it with a claw grip, or not a claw grip, just like, you know, a thumb. It is possible. You can be very good at that, but a lot of people just use a different grip. I didn't really talk about the parrot much, but I'll get a chance to in the next level. That section is incredibly scary because you're on 1 health, and honestly, I'm not very good at the parrot.
I don't think anybody is, so it's okay.
Okay, so we're out of Toxic. Got out of there alive, which is really all I can ask for at this point. And we're done. We rescued DK.
Nice. Good job.
Oh, whoa, what the hell? Got baited pretty hard there.
See ya.
You baited.
Okay, so here's the last like real level of the game, and it's also very difficult. So this game likes to kind of backload its difficulty. Here we're gonna roll through these guys, climb up these ropes. So that bird over there can just randomly cause damage, which is rough. Okay, so there, normally you have to race that bird to Screech, but you can kind of fly through them in the right angle, and you can skip the race trigger, which is nice. I'm actually awful at that trick, so I'm very happy that I got it. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't really save any time during the race, but you have to wait there for a second before it actually lets you go, so...
Yeah.
It
saves the time of the race starting. Okay. So that whole section is incredibly scary to play when you're on one Kong because, well, you know, any bramble hit can kill you, and you're always drifting to the left or right a little bit, so you have to constantly course correct, and yeah, it's pretty nerve-wracking. Fortunately, this fight is not that hard, and I've definitely never lost a run to this fight. The only real optimization you can make here is throwing the cannonball as soon as possible so that you don't see the animation of him, you know, sucking the cannonball into his blunderbuss. Of course, if you throw it too soon, then the cannonball just bounces off of him, and then you lose time, you have to rethrow the cannonball, or even worse, you just have to do another cycle because the cannonball despawns. So we have visual cues for most of the shots to just throw the cannonball as soon as possible.
Alright, we have a $5.01 donation from Freezinator. Thank you very much. We have a $5 donation from Oni-chan. It says, "Hey IGB, it's your pal Oni-chan. Best of luck on the run.
Yo,
I can't believe you let the serial DKC saboteur BGW couch for you, and he didn't bring a single Fuma or Suku. BGW, yeah."
Yeah, what the hell, dude?
And what a great transition, because my next donation is $10 from BGW himself. Says, "Nice run."
Yo, avoid nice run.
Subtwig, let's go.
The run's not over yet. So there are 9 cycles of this. This is the 6th one, if I remember correctly. I think this is the longest one as well. Alright, so we're coming up to the last set of 3 cycles, and here he's gonna throw these little clouds that kind of change your movement in certain ways. So here, there, he's like, you couldn't move at all there. Very surprised that I didn't get anything from the couch for not doing Blue Diddy.
See, they don't know anything about the game, so that's why.
I've already taunted you enough.
I've never seen this game in my life.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
Hey, I knew that one thing.
It's true. You knew one thing.
I know this is the ending.
Wait, it is?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, so those are like really bad because they reverse your D-pad controls. So doing this when your controls are reversed is pretty annoying. Time is coming up kind of soon. I'll let you know.
Got him.
So that's the last shot, and time is coming in now. Yep, so that was DKC2.
At a 43-30.
Okay,
Let's do it again.
I'll pass. I hope you guys enjoyed. It's a fun game. If you ever want to pick it up, go to dkcspeedruns.com. We have a really good wiki and a really welcoming community. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that.
All right, thank you very much. I got bored for that awesome